Some of the UK's most trusted cheddar cheese brands are quietly putting seniors at serious risk, and most shoppers have no idea. Behind the bright packaging and farm-fresh promises hide dangers that never make it onto the label. And here's the part no one talks about. These brands are still sitting on supermarket shelves today, marketed as safe for the whole family. But when you dig into food safety reports, NHS warnings, and manufacturing violations, a very different picture emerges. One that could mean hospitalisation for vulnerable shoppers, especially seniors, whose immune systems and cardiovascular health can't afford hidden risks. So today, we're counting down 8 UK cheddar cheese brands seniors should avoid at all costs. And more importantly, why these popular favourites may not be worth the risk. And trust me, you'll want to stick around, because one of the brands on this list is a household name. 8. Cathedral City. High salt content and processing concerns. Cathedral City is one of those cheeses people trust without a moment's hesitation. It's everywhere, in supermarkets, small shops, lunchboxes, and family kitchens. Wrapped in its familiar burgundy packaging, it carries an old-fashioned charm that makes it feel wholesome and reliable. Many seniors have been buying it for decades, long before the food industry became as industrialized as it is today. And the brand capitalizes on that nostalgia, promoting phrases like "made in Cornwall" and "farm fresh milk," which paint a picture of traditional craftsmanship and natural quality. But behind that comforting image lies something most shoppers never stop to question: the salt content. Some Cathedral City varieties contain sodium levels that sit alarmingly high for older adults, high enough to exceed what many seniors should consume in an entire meal. Nutrition watchdog groups have repeatedly warned that certain cheddar varieties sold across the UK are hidden salt traps, and Cathedral City's extra mature and vintage options often make that list. Then there's the matter of large-scale production. Because Cathedral City is manufactured on an industrial level, the company relies on accelerated aging methods, mechanical processing, and strict uniformity techniques. None of this is illegal, but insiders note these shortcuts can create moisture inconsistencies or bacterial vulnerabilities that aren't always visible when the cheese reaches the shelf. Consumers have occasionally reported premature mold growth even before the use-by date, a sign that something may have gone wrong long before the packaging was sealed. For younger shoppers, that might be an inconvenience, but for seniors, it can become a genuine health risk. Excess sodium is directly linked to hypertension, stroke risk, kidney strain, and heart complications, all issues that disproportionately affect older adults. A senior who unknowingly eats a high-salt cheese every day might feel fine at first, but the long-term impact can be dangerous. And if a batch happens to contain higher bacterial levels due to moisture issues, an older immune system is far more susceptible to illness and infection. Cathedral City feels familiar and comforting, but for seniors trying to protect their heart health, or anyone concerned about hidden risks, this iconic cheese deserves a second look. And if you think high salt is alarming, the brand coming up next has a different kind of problem, one that hides inside the texture itself. 7. Tesco Mature Cheddar. Quality complaints and texture additives. Tesco's Mature Cheddar is a go-to choice for shoppers who want a good, reliable cheese without spending a premium. It's affordable, easy to find, and marketed as a simple, everyday staple. Many seniors buy it out of habit, trusting the supermarket's reputation and assuming the cheese inside is straightforward, natural, and well-regulated. On the surface, it looks like a safe, harmless option, especially for anyone on a fixed budget. But this is where things get complicated. Tesco's cheddar has repeatedly attracted consumer complaints about inconsistent quality, unexpected textures, and batch-to-batch variation. Some buyers describe blocks that crumble too easily. Others find the cheese strangely rubbery, while some report an unpleasant aftertaste. These inconsistency issues aren't just cosmetic. They often point to manufacturing shortcuts or stabilizing techniques used to keep costs low. And one of the biggest concerns is the quiet use of anti-caking agents and texture-modifying additives that help processed cheese maintain a uniform appearance. These additives are legal, but the problem is transparency. Most shoppers, especially older ones, assume cheddar is a simple food: milk, salt, culture, rennet. They don't realize that some supermarket cheddars rely on added agents to fix texture problems or extend shelf life. Seniors with sensitive digestion or food intolerances can react poorly to these additives, often blaming their stomach issues on getting older, rather than on hidden ingredients in everyday products. Then there's the matter of production scale. Supermarket-branded cheese is sourced from multiple facilities, meaning quality control isn't always consistent. A batch that sits too long at the wrong temperature or undergoes minor formulation changes can lead to off flavors, early spoilage, or chemical-like notes. For a younger person, this might just be an unpleasant meal. For an older adult, it can mean digestive upset, bloating, or reactions tied to gut sensitivity that becomes more common with age. And for seniors already managing conditions like acid, reflux, IBS, or weakened immune systems, even small quality lapses or hidden additives can cause problems that appear unexpectedly long after the meal is over. If Tesco's Cheddar seems like a questionable choice, the next one might surprise you even more, because not only does it struggle with quality control, it also carries a history of recall issues that many shoppers never heard about. 6. Aldi Emporium Cheddar, aging questions and recall history. Aldi's Emporium Cheddar has exploded in popularity over the last decade. Shoppers love the low price, and many assume it's basically the same as any other cheddar, just cheaper because Aldi cuts marketing costs, not quality. For seniors on fixed incomes, that value is appealing, and Aldi's branding reinforces this trust by presenting the cheese as award-winning, traditional, and carefully crafted. But behind the low price tag is a reality most shoppers never think about: how the cheese is actually produced. Unlike smaller brands that take pride in their aging process, mass-market budget cheddars often rely on accelerated techniques that artificially speed up maturing. This can involve controlled environments, mechanical systems, and additives designed to mimic the flavor of naturally aged cheese. The result is a product that looks mature, tastes mature, but hasn't been matured in the way traditional cheddar should be. When the aging process is rushed or overly engineered, moisture levels can become inconsistent, a problem that increases the risk of bacterial growth. And for seniors, who are more vulnerable to foodborne illness, that's no small issue. Even minor contamination can lead to symptoms that are far more severe than what a younger adult might experience. The bigger red flag is Aldi's recall history. Over the years, various Emporium cheese products have been pulled from shelves due to potential contamination, labeling errors, or safety concerns. These incidents rarely make front-page news, and many shoppers never hear about them unless they follow food safety alerts. But each recall tells a story. Something in the production or handling process went wrong, and customers were put at potential risk. Recalls don't automatically make a brand dangerous, but frequent or repeated issues indicate weak quality control systems, especially when products come from large volume factories focused on speed and cost efficiency. Seniors with weakened immune defenses can't afford to gamble on a cheese that may have slipped through the cracks of a rushed production pipeline. Aldi's Emporium. Cheddar may be cheap, but for older adults trying to avoid digestive problems, bacterial risks, and inconsistent quality, the hidden cost might be much higher than the price on the shelf. And if you think recalls are the worst part of this list, wait until you see the next cheese, a supermarket favorite that hides some of the highest saturated fat levels in the entire dairy aisle. 5. Asda Extra. Mature cheddar, high saturated fat, and flavor boosters. Asda's Extra Mature Cheddar is known for its bold, punchy taste, the kind of cheese people grate over everything from pasta to toasties because it delivers that instant flavor hit. Many seniors choose it because it melts beautifully, tastes stronger than cheaper blocks, and feels like a satisfying treat without costing as much as premium brands. The packaging leans into this, highlighting its rich flavor and extra mature authenticity. On the surface, it feels like a dependable supermarket classic. But the reason this cheddar tastes so intense isn't just the aging process. A closer look reveals something most shoppers never think about: the saturated fat content. Asda's extra mature varieties often rank at the very top in fat density, reaching levels that health experts say can be especially risky for older adults. Seniors already face higher risks of cholesterol issues, heart disease, and circulatory problems, and consuming cheese with extreme fat concentrations can worsen those conditions over time. And that's not all. To enhance consistency and amplify flavor, some batches use subtle boosters or additives that help the cheese achieve that signature extra mature kick. These aren't always openly discussed on packaging, and while they're legal, they can be harsher on sensitive stomachs. Seniors who notice digestive discomfort after eating strong supermarket cheddar often assume age is to blame, without realizing it may be the formulation of the cheese itself. What makes this more concerning is how easily this cheddar becomes a daily habit. Its strong taste makes smaller portions satisfying, but many older adults use it generously without realizing they're stacking up saturated fats far faster than they should. Over time, that can mean increased blood pressure, arterial strain, and higher heart attack risk, especially for anyone already managing cardiovascular conditions. Before we continue to the next item, if you're finding this eye-opening so far, make sure you like this video and subscribe, because we're only halfway down the list, and the top items are far more shocking. Your support helps this channel expose more hidden dangers that big brands hope you never question. Now, back to the countdown. If high saturated fat is worrying, wait until you hear about number 4, a budget cheddar made with manufacturing shortcuts so extreme that safety oversight often struggles to keep up. 4. Morrison's Savers Cheddar, budget manufacturing and low safety oversight. Morrison's Savers Cheddar is designed to appeal to anyone watching their wallet, and on the surface, it looks like a perfectly reasonable choice. It's simple, no frills, and marketed as a basic everyday cheese for sandwiches, cooking, or quick snacks. Many seniors gravitate toward budget lines like this because they assume the only difference is the price, not the production methods. And that's exactly what supermarkets want shoppers to believe. But ultra-cheap cheddar rarely comes without trade-offs. To hit such a low price point, manufacturers often rely on large-scale, high-speed processing plants, where efficiency is prioritized over craftsmanship. Instead of being carefully aged and monitored, budget cheddars are typically produced in massive batches, using rapid techniques that drastically reduce costs. It's cheddar in name, but not always in spirit. This industrial process often means lower quality milk sources, fewer skilled cheese technicians overseeing production, and less time devoted to ensuring consistent bacterial control. In higher-end cheeses, minor irregularities are caught by experienced eyes and hands. But in mass-processing environments, irregularities can slip through unnoticed, and sometimes that means unexpected spoilage, off flavors, or contamination risks. A bigger concern for seniors is that budget cheeses frequently have higher moisture levels, which can make them more susceptible to bacterial growth if storage conditions fail at any point along the supply chain. A tiny lapse in temperature control during transport or stocking, something shoppers never see, can elevate the risk dramatically. And while young adults might bounce back from mild foodborne illness, older adults often cannot. Seniors are far more vulnerable to dehydration, infection, and complications that can turn a seemingly mild stomach issue into a hospital visit. Transparency is another issue. Budget lines rarely offer detailed information about where their milk comes from, how long the cheese was aged, or what facilities were used to produce it. That lack of clarity means shoppers have no real insight into the quality control behind the product. And for older adults seeking safe, predictable foods, that's a substantial risk on its own. If Morrison's Savers Cheddar makes you uneasy, you'll definitely want to stick around for number 3, a popular brand with a surprising mold problem that has caught customers off guard far more often than you'd expect. 3. Pilgrim's Choice Cheddar, mold incidents and packaging failures. Pilgrim's Choice is one of those brands that feels premium without being overpriced. The packaging looks modern and high quality, the branding feels confident, and many shoppers consider it a step above basic supermarket cheddar. Seniors, especially, often choose it believing they're getting a more carefully crafted cheese without the cost of artisanal brands. It's a name people trust, and that trust is exactly why the next part is so concerning. Because behind Pilgrim's Choice's clean, glossy exterior lies a history of customer-reported mold issues. And not the kind of mold that appears after weeks of neglect, but mold spotted right after opening the pack, or even visible through the packaging before purchase. When mold shows up this early, it's usually a sign of deeper problems: compromised packaging seals, temperature mishandling during transport, or bacterial instability during production. Multiple shoppers have posted images online showing blue, green, or white mold patches forming long before the cheese should reasonably spoil. For a brand sold nationwide and produced in high volumes, even a small percentage of compromised packs can translate to thousands of households exposed to potential contamination. And this isn't just about a ruined meal. For seniors, accidental consumption of moldy cheese, even a small amount, can trigger severe digestive upset, nausea, vomiting, and in some cases dangerous infections. Older immune systems are less capable of fighting off unexpected bacterial or fungal threats, meaning something a younger person might simply find disgusting could become genuinely harmful for an older adult. The root of the problem appears to lie in packaging inconsistencies. Pilgrim's Choice uses a distinctive packaging style that's visually appealing, but has, in some cases, proven vulnerable to microscopic tears or poorly sealed edges. If even a tiny amount of air slips in, mold can grow rapidly, especially if the cheese has higher moisture content or wasn't stored perfectly at every stage of distribution. Many shoppers don't realize that supermarket refrigeration systems, transport trucks, and warehouse storage can differ widely in temperature stability. A brief lapse, just a few hours, can be enough to create conditions where mold thrives long before the best before date arrives. If mold appearing before you even open the pack sounds alarming, the next brand on this list takes the concern further because it hides something even more deceptive. Levels of sodium so high they rival some fast food meals. 2. Sainsbury's Taste, the difference Cheddar, hidden additives and sodium surges. Sainsbury's Taste the Difference line is marketed as a premium upgrade, the kind of product you choose when you want something a little better, a little richer, a little more artisanal than everyday cheddar. The packaging looks sophisticated. The wording suggests slow aging, superior milk quality, and a depth of flavor not found in standard cheeses. Many seniors gravitate toward it thinking, if I pay a little more, I'm getting something safer, purer, and better for me. But premium branding doesn't always mean premium transparency. And that's where this cheddar takes a surprising turn. Despite its upscale image, some varieties of Taste the Difference cheddar contain unexpected additives and flavor enhancers that aren't obvious to shoppers without reading the fine print. These additives help intensify sharpness, control texture, and create that extra mature punch the brand is known for, but they also make the cheese harder for sensitive digestive systems to handle. Seniors dealing with acid reflux, IBS, or general digestive fragility may find this cheese far harsher than expected. Then there's the sodium content. For a cheese positioned as premium and natural, certain batches contain salt levels that rival fast food items, far higher than what many older adults should be eating regularly. Excess sodium can be particularly dangerous for seniors managing hypertension, heart conditions, or kidney issues. And because this cheese is marketed as high quality, many people end up eating larger portions, unaware that they're consuming significantly more salt than they intended. Another concern is Taste the Difference's sourcing variability. Supermarket premium lines often come from multiple suppliers, meaning not every block is created with the same aging process or production standards. That inconsistency can lead to fluctuating moisture levels, unexpected sharpness, or slight flavor shifts, signs that some suppliers may rely more on boosters than on slow, natural aging. For seniors trying to keep their diet stable, predictable, and gentle on the body, these inconsistencies can have real consequences. Bloating, stomach discomfort, blood pressure spikes, or even headaches triggered by certain additives. But if you think a premium label hiding additives is worrying, wait until you see number 1, because the final cheddar on this list isn't just risky. It's been tied to safety alerts and bacteria concerns serious enough to alarm food inspectors. 1. Seriously, strong cheddar, safety alerts and high bacteria concerns. Seriously, strong cheddar has built its entire reputation on intensity. The name says it all. Bold flavor, deep maturity, a cheese that hits harder than the average supermarket block. It's the kind of cheddar people buy when they want something with personality. Seniors often gravitate toward it because its sharpness makes small portions satisfying, and it feels like an indulgence without overeating. But the same qualities that make seriously strong appealing are also what make it the most concerning item on this list. Beneath the rich, punchy flavor lies a history of safety alerts, moisture inconsistencies, and bacterial concerns that shouldn't be ignored, especially by older adults. One of the biggest problems comes from the cheese's high moisture variability. Some batches are firmer, others noticeably softer, and that inconsistency is more than a texture issue. When moisture levels fluctuate, the cheese becomes more vulnerable to bacterial growth, particularly Listeria, or other harmful microorganisms that thrive in cool, moist environments. For seniors, exposure to these bacteria can be extremely dangerous, leading to severe gastrointestinal illness, fever, confusion, and, in the worst cases, hospitalisation. Past safety alerts linked to seriously strong products have raised eyebrows within food safety circles. These were not broad national recalls, which means many shoppers never heard about them, but targeted warnings involving possible contamination or production irregularities. Even if the issues were corrected, they reveal cracks in the brand's quality assurance processes. When production is fast, high volume, and heavily focused on delivering a consistent, strong flavor profile, safety can sometimes fall behind intensity. Another concern is the cheese's aggressive sharpness. Achieving that bold taste often involves very specific bacterial cultures and highly controlled aging conditions. If those conditions slip even slightly, a temperature fluctuation here, a humidity oversight there, the result can be a product that tastes fine but contains bacterial activity levels far higher than vulnerable individuals can safely tolerate. For younger consumers, this might mean nothing more than a brief stomach upset, but for seniors whose immune defenses are less robust, it can turn into a serious medical event. That's what makes Seriously Strong the most important cheddar for older adults to approach with caution. And now that we've uncovered the biggest danger on the list, it's time to bring everything together, because knowing what to avoid is only half the battle. The outro will show what to choose instead and how to shop safely moving forward. Now that you've seen all 8 cheddar brands, one thing becomes clear. Not all cheese is created equal, and the risks hiding inside some of these everyday products are far more serious than most shoppers realize. Seniors in particular face vulnerabilities that brands rarely acknowledge. High salt levels, unstable moisture, hidden additives, rushed production, and past safety warnings all add up to dangers that simply aren't worth the gamble. But avoiding these brands doesn't mean giving up cheddar altogether. Safer options absolutely exist. Look for cheeses that emphasize traditional aging, short ingredient lists, and transparent sourcing. Smaller regional producers, farmhouse cheddars, and brands that mature their cheese for a minimum of 9 to 12 months without additives tend to offer a much safer and more predictable product. These cheeses may cost a little more, but the payoff is huge. Better digestion, lower sodium intake, fewer contaminants, and far fewer surprises lurking beneath the rind. Your health is worth more than a bargain block cheddar. If you've ever had a bad experience with any of the cheeses on this list, or if you know a brand that should have been included, share your story in the comments. Your experience could help someone else avoid a serious health risk. And if you found this expose useful, eye-opening, or even a little shocking, make sure you share it with a friend or family member, especially anyone over 60 who needs to hear this. Finally, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another investigation into the hidden dangers of everyday foods. Stay informed, stay safe, and remember, the things we trust the most are often the ones worth questioning.